everyone, welcome to this week's Karma Cards. Now, energetically speaking, this week is kind of quiet, which I think is a good thing, and I'll tell you why in a moment. The only thing we've really got going on right now is we've got a couple planets changing signs. So today is Wednesday, October 4th, and Mercury has now entered the sign of Libra, which is, Mercury represents the mind, Libra represents balance, harmony, fairness, working together. So that's where the planet of the mind is hanging out. So on a collective level, our mind might be more bent towards how we can work together, how we can create balance, how we can create harmony, and also justice. The topic of justice also falls under the sign of Libra. So this is where we look at the scales, right, and the sword. These are signs that represent our justice system here in the United States, and those are also the signs that connect with Libra. Then on Sunday, the planet Venus moves into the sign of Virgo. Venus has been in Leo for a while, and now that it's moving into Virgo, things that have to do with money and relationships are going to move into a more practical area where, again, we're looking at how to create a healthier balance in these areas of our life. So these are the two energy movements that are happening now. And like I said, it is a quiet week. And that's because next week we will have our new moon in the sign of Libra, and it will be the beginning of eclipse season. So we're building up to a pretty heavy energy, pretty big energy. October has a couple of fireworks that happen in it. We'll get into that as we reach them. But think of this as kind of a break and possibly a period where you're continuing to deconstruct and let go of that which does not serve you. And that brings me to the message from the team. One of the things I've noticed, so today is October 4th. Let me preface this. Today is October 4th. We did have the test EBS here in the United States, and there was so much hype around it in certain circles. I literally posted a What in the World event reading post video here on YouTube about October 4th and the EBS because there was so much hype and so much fear built up around it, and I just felt like this isn't accurate. I feel like this is kind of a nothing burger. It turns out that's what it was. No one turned into zombies. We're all good. But if you want to hear more about that specific topic and what was being said and what my team had to say about it, which did surprise me. I thought it really had nothing nefarious connected to it, but I wasn't quite right in my personal opinion. The cards showed me what they were going to do. And of course, it was negated because we're not experiencing it. So if you want to learn more about that, check out my last video on this channel. But one of the things that my team had said to me about why the rumors spread so far and fast has to do with the population and the fact that we can all feel something big is coming. There are big events coming for us in close days. We don't know how far away these events are, but we can feel it. And there's an anticipation that's been building up in people for a while, whether you are following along certain threads, going down rabbit holes or not. In the back of everybody's mind, they can feel this tension rising and a really big energy. And I think that energy, the team said, is looking for outlets. So people are getting attached to these alarmist stories or the fear stories because it matches how they feel. They feel that something big is coming. And so this is where our discernment is even more important for us to develop, because all of that energy that we're feeling is getting hijacked. The mind is getting hijacked by people. Now, there is infiltration in every group. The negative timeline people, as I like to call them, they're really good at spreading their tentacles out and kind of getting themselves mixed into every little pot. So it's really hard to find any collection of people where they haven't established some connection to these groups. And what I would say moving forward is that if anything sounds extreme, be suspicious of it. If it sounds extreme, if it sounds like, wow, that would be really big, I would question it. I mean, there are big things coming for sure. And I'm not saying that that some of the information out there isn't correct. It does take discernment on our part, though, and just notice if it makes you feel like you're losing power or something is controlling you. That's usually a sign that the information is being manipulated, because as we're moving closer and closer to the big ascension event, you should be feeling more and more of your power. You should be realigning with the creator being that you are. That's sort of the direction we're going in, where the illusion becomes more and more illusory to you, meaning it gets faker the deeper we go. You start to really see that, wow, this is a facade, this is fake, this is like an apparition or a ghost that has no weight. And so if you're getting information that tells you the opposite, that this is coming and you can't control it and it's going to be bigger than you, that's where I would say use discretion and use discernment and feel into it, feel if that's accurate or correct, because we're only moving deeper into our personal power, not away from it. The illusion is crumbling. And just like in Stephen Pressfield's book, The War of Art, he talks about how towards the end of when you're about to overcome your own resistance to moving forward, resistance will fight back at its strongest. And we're in a similar situation now, that as the light pervades every shadow, as it moves into every corner and illuminates what's going on, the shadows will fight back to establish their hold. They're losing their hold. So they're fighting really hard to do it. And how they're doing it predominantly is through information and misinformation. So as we move deeper, and as we're in this period of quiet and letting go, it's letting go of the fear that anything can control you, stepping back into your power and remembering that free will is a universal law. Nothing can override that. Nothing can happen to you without you agreeing to it. So if someone says, I have control over you, and you're like, oh my God, you have control over me, I hope you can hear in that there is an agreement with that person stating their control. The person responding, saying, oh my God, you have control over me, is agreeing. They're confirming it, and therefore giving permission to or allowing it. Even if they don't intend to, that's what they're doing, as they agree with if someone's like, I can stop you from whatever you're doing, and you're like, oh my gosh, they're going to stop me. There's an agreement there, right? Even if you don't want that to be the truth, that is what's happening. So we're in that part where we have to keep reestablishing, no, that doesn't get to happen. You can't do that, and I don't consent. And that is how we continue to move forward, grounded in our power. So you are right when you feel something big is coming. You are so spot on. Be aware that some people out there will use that feeling and that knowing and that gut instinct in you to manipulate you, to get you to buy into ideas that aren't true. They're fake ideas that they're trying to create alarm, create fear, create distraction, right? And ultimately maybe even discredit certain other true information by creating this fake information. So we just want to be really discerning as we move forward, and also to temper ourselves, right? We know something big and we want it to. That's the other part my team mentioned, is that we can feel something big and we're all fatigued from having to wait for it. It is an intense energy of something's got to give, and we're all fatigued waiting for it to give. And unfortunately, that creates a perfect opportunity for someone to step in and take advantage, to sell you the snake oil, right? To sell you a fake story or a false promise, because there is this desire of like, enough already, let's go. And I feel it too. I talk to my friends about it all the time. I'm like, I'm done. Stick a fork in me. I'm done. Let's go moving forward. These bigger events are approaching and big stuff will happen. I feel like the snowball definitely picks up energy, but I also know that I know in my gut the good guys are winning. The good guys have got a hold on this. And so where there might be some events that really surprise us or take us by shock, they're really more to instigate you into stepping into your power and taking action where you can, and not to harm you. And so when someone's saying this is coming and it's going to harm you, just pause for a moment, question it, and feel in, does that feel like it's in alignment with me growing more into my power, or is this trying to tell me I have no power? And then use your discernment with that. So with that, let's look at this week's karma cards and see what else the team wants to share with us. If you're new to karma cards, let me quickly show you how these work. I have 3 decks here: planets, signs of the zodiac, and the houses of astrology. And I've already asked my team, what's the message for this week? And I've got 2 sets of answers. I've got a set in red, which are action related, and a set in blue, which are outcome related. And the way that you play is you tune in with that beautiful intuition of yours and you feel, what is the message you need this week? Are you looking for action related guidance? Are you looking for outcomes? And of course, you can always choose both. And while you're choosing, let me tell you the timing for this reading is October 4th through October 11th. And the flavor of this reading, we've got Saturn. Saturn is one of the malefic planets, and it's usually about lessons, the things we need to learn, karma, and timing as well. In the sign of Taurus, Taurus deals with what you value. This can mean, sometimes it can mean physical values, but also represents your beliefs and what you value on the inside. And we have the 12th house again. We had this last week. So we're doing some work again in the subconscious mind. A lot of deep work. This probably connects with the eclipses that are coming, which is all about, again, something's going to give so something else can move forward. All right, for those who are choosing action, your spiritual action at this time is to be realistic about your beliefs, seeing oneness with all there is. I feel like they're literally talking about the discernment right here. Oneness with all there is. That's you stepping into your creator being energy. You are a part of this. Nothing is happening to you without you being a part of its creation. So that's important to remember. The other part, be realistic about your beliefs. Like, again, so realize there's a big energy inside of you. There's a big deep knowing. There's a sensation of something coming. Now, there are so many events that could represent why you feel that way. But across the board, no matter what you believe, people are feeling that energy. So they're literally, reinstating what I had just said about using discernment. Be realistic about this. Like, pay attention and remember your power. Remember you're a part of the creation of it. You are a part of this. Nothing is happening to you. It's happening with you. You're part of the creation team, as we all are. Mental action at this time. Be concerned about the costs of philanthropy. Here we go again. Whole thing last week about philanthropy, about being generous in the mind. That was last week's message. Now we're talking about the costs of philanthropy, and I feel like this is giving too much credit. I feel like that's where they're going with this. Like, be careful of what you give too much credit to. So sometimes it feels like we get these counter messages like, hey, be generous in your thoughts, but also be careful about giving too much. So this is a time where it's like, be balanced about it, right? Like, you can take in information and assess it. You don't have to take it in as, well, that's the truth, right? And I'm not implying that you're doing that, but that's where we want to be careful. It's like I think that sometimes even people who are well-intending get caught up in these things because they're emotionally caught up, or it's very alarmist. I think sometimes people who are kind of alarmist people, I think they have good intentions. They're trying to do what they believe is the right thing by being protective, by getting you to be like, hey, be careful. This really bad thing's going to happen. So, be careful. And I think that there's good intentions, but we sometimes maybe feel that good intention and then we give them credence. Like, okay, so what you're saying is true. And, you can have a good intention and be misdirected. You can have a good intention and be reading into it a little too much, right? So we just want to be careful in how much credence we give something. It needs to be run through your system. So listen to it, take it in, run it through your system, see if it makes sense, sit with it for a moment before you decide, okay, that's right. That's the right thing. And that includes any information I am sharing here with you. I am definitely not more of an authority in your life than you are. I would never want that role. That's your job. We want to take the information and run it through our system. And if our system has if we get some yellow lights or red lights on some stuff, we want to go, there's a lot of stuff that this person says that resonates with me, but for whatever reason, I kind of feel like they got this one wrong. It's not resonating. So you know what? I'm just gonna put it down. I'm not gonna give that a lot of attention. And that's kind of what this is talking about right now. Physical action at this time. You must wait before you can use the most direct way and keep your involvement hidden. So also what I'm getting is it's not necessarily a time to go around correcting others. So that's why I'm not going to state anybody's name. I'm not going to say, hey, this person's right and that person's wrong. Because it's not about that. Again, we're not dealing with when we're getting into the information that's going around. We've got layers happening here. We've got people who are doing their due diligence and giving you the information to the best of their understanding. We've got people who are spreading misinformation or creating fear or confusion for nefarious purposes. And then we have people who are, taking it all in and trying to assess from the best of their abilities. Again, maybe erring on the side of caution, who could be incidentally spreading information that's not quite correct. With the whole gamut is active right now. And so it's not about us going, you're right, you're wrong. This is a person I can trust. This is a person I can't, because I feel like it's so convoluted now. I feel like, for example, in my last video where I was talking about the EBS alert, I had read information that it was happening at 8:20 a.m. Pacific time. That was wrong information. The source was good. The information was wrong. It was actually 11:20, and it didn't even go off then. It went off at 11:18. So again, it's not about good, all bad. It's not, there's no black and white in this. This is very nuanced and lots of shades, and that's because information is cycling at a tornado pace right now. We are in this whirlwind of information. It's coming at us so hot, so heavy. We got people saying one thing, people saying the polar opposite. It's kind of hard to get a hold of this and be like, what do I do? And it's by design. My team has said this before. It's all intended to get you to go inward. And they said the deeper we go into this, the closer we get to our ascension point, the more you will need to go inward to assess and discern the truth. It's by design. It's to help you, again, tap into your own knowing, your own wisdom, your own power, and connect with something higher within you. And so the deeper we go into this, the more convoluted and chaotic it gets. And it doesn't mean that there aren't people out there who are going to provide great information or a path forward, but you're really going to have to sift through it as you take it in. You're going to sift through it and move forward. So it's really not about trying to swat or bat down those who are getting it wrong, because I think at times all of us will get a piece of it wrong. Like I said, it's just so much happening all at once, and there's energy and emotions involved, and there is the veil of confusion, which I've talked about before, but the veil of confusion guarantees that there's only so much information you will be able to get externally. To get the whole picture, you're going to have to go within. And so with all of that in play, it's going to be really hard to know which way to go. Discernment and contemplation are huge keys for being able to move forward feeling grounded and at peace. So now let's look at outcomes for Saturn in Taurus in the 12th house of the subconscious mind. The spiritual outcome at this time is the maturity that brings resources to maintain your faith. I like that. I am glad that this is one of the outcomes at this period. So it's like as we mature into that, ultimately you will have to seek the inner guidance to have the clearest compass forward. As we activate that spiritual maturity, we grow. And as we do that, we feel more grounded, and whatever it is you believe is happening on a faith level, like whether you believe the good guys have won, my team is like, ding, that you're surrounded by love and protection, ding again, wow, okay. So that obviously I'm telling you what I believe. As you connect in with that, as you allow yourself to discern, you get that conviction energy coming through. And conviction is a great energy when it comes to your faith, when it comes to your beliefs. They always show it like a steel pole going in the ground. It's unshakable, and no matter what wind blows at it, it doesn't go anywhere. And that's the kind of energy you want. And it looks like just by practicing your discernment more, you develop that. That's one of the outcomes, which is chef's kiss. I love it. All right, mental outcome at this time. Caution regarding the practicality of hidden tendencies. What my team is saying is this is about bias. And this one is hard because our bias is developed by, I like that person, I trust that person, so whatever this person says, that's okay by me, right? That's one bias. The other bias is like, I don't like this person, I don't trust that person, whatever that person says, it's total BS. We gotta be careful of that because it's weird. There's some good information coming from maybe bad sources as well as bad information, meaning, again, maybe well-intended, but misinformed information coming from sources you trust. And so again, it's this discernment. It's like nothing here says throw the baby out with the bathwater. So it is about balance. It's not about, well, I trusted this person. They got this one wrong, so they're always wrong. You got to just no black and white thinking about this. Nuance, nuance, nuance. And also listen for the message, not the messenger. If the message resonates, but you don't like the messenger, that's one of the things we're going to have to practice, is that the truth can come from anywhere. And you might not like who the truth is coming from. Might not like the truth teller. They might not be a person that you have esteem for. But if they're telling the truth, they're telling the truth. And the truth resonates. It literally resonates at 432 hertz, which we feel in the body. That creates that gut feeling. So, this is not to say you have to go seek people you don't like and listen to what they have to say. But if it comes to you, if you hear someone say, hey, did you hear so-and-so said this? And you're like, oh, I don't like that person, so I'm dismissing it. That would be a little bit foolish on our parts. When the information comes to you, if it resonates, follow that guidance, use that discernment, and practice nuanced thinking. Nuance, like, again, we're recognizing that no one's always 100% right, nor are people always wrong. They're really wanting us to stretch our mind around this and really loosen up and practice a little detachment here. And again, this isn't saying, if this person's information is wrong, that they're always wrong. There's so much nuance around it. And we're just wanting to, again, check back in. Remember the reward you're getting. As you check in, your faith in what you believe becomes even stronger. All right, last one. Physical outcome. Limits imposed resulting from the productivity of large institutions or overwhelming events. This one I really feel is like about the plan moving forward and what's happening. And the limits are that some of these moves cannot be broadcast to the public. Only so much can be broadcast about what the moves are, because we're in we're in a spiritual war. And on the good guys' behalf, they've tried to give us as much information ahead of time as they can that doesn't compromise their positions and the moves they're going to make. Just enough so that you can be secure in how they move forward, but not enough to tell you to register really what's going on. So there is a limit to the information that you can get about certain events. And these are coming from large institutions. You can also look at it in the terms of like the ascension. We're not going to be told when it happens. It's going to be a progression, and we're actually a part of, we're what it comes through. It's coming through us on a spiritual level. We're the gateway for this whole thing to happen. And a lot of people see it as happening to us. It's happening through us. Ascension comes through the open heart. The more the heart can open, the faster this comes through. And that's why we have to practice that detachment, nuanced thinking. I'm not going to go into all or nothing black and white mode. I'm going to stay open. I'm going to listen, but I'm also going to discern. I'm not going to decide that this person's always right, this person's always wrong, right? We're really getting into the nuance of how to do this, of how to detach the message from the messenger and find what's resonant for real, not what's scary, not what creates feelings of panic, fear, or alarm in me, but rather what I feel is the truth. It's like I can't shake that this is all going to be okay. No matter how scary it may look, I know, and I'm just sharing with you my personal belief on this, no matter how scary it looks, I know we're going in a really good direction. It's hard sometimes to see that. But as you practice that discernment and you're really allowing yourself to take things in and run it through your system, your faith also really starts to increase. You get that, again, conviction about, you don't know why you just know. It's just there and it can't be shaken. And understand that you might want more information to feel secure. You might want more information to give you a sense of safety, but there are limits on the amount of information that can be given to us right now because we're in the middle of it, where there's strategy happening. There are moves being made, and they can't be broadcast because then it's like giving up your position. It's like if we were playing hide and seek and someone was like, I'm hiding behind the bush by the tree. They just gave their position up. They're going to lose, right? So in this spiritual war, the good guys are doing everything they can to support you and let you know that they're here, they got your back, they're supporting you, things are moving forward in a very good direction, good for the whole, but they can't give you every move because it compromises their position. So that's kind of the final message here. So that sounds kind of out there, but when you put it all together, you can see that, again, this is not happening to you, it's happening with you, and you're in it. You are a warrior of light. You're in this battle, and the decisions you make and what you allow through, what you believe is happening, is helping shape what is happening. So remember how powerful you are, and remember that you're a creator being. So in order for something to be created in your life, you have to agree to it. So if you agree to some things, great, consent to it. And if you're seeing something, you're like, I don't want that, don't consent and question it. And that helps to show you what's an illusion and what's the truth. And with that, I'm sending you so much love. Mwah. I will see you next week.